Behaviour approach. What is it? Well, behaviour approach is a model of teaching which is rooted in the principles of psychological theory, focusing on internal mental processes. Key aspects in behaviourist approach are reinforcement and punishment, clear objectives, direct instructions, practice and repetition, assessment and feedback, structured environment, and behaviour modifications. Someone to back this up is a well-known researcher and educator called Kevin Wendell, and he is known for contributing to the understanding and application of the behaviourist principle in the classroom, particularly in the context of literacy and special education. His work emphasises the importance of structured teaching methods and using the behaviourist strategies to learn welcome all students, especially those with learning difficulties. Many more of the teachers these days have passing acquaintances with behavioural methods growing in the classrooms or ways to use their classrooms. His contributions have helped shape effective teaching practices and that they have grounded principles. Wendell's behaviourist approach in the classroom has emphasised the importance of clear, structured and systematic teaching methods to improve educational outcomes, particularly for students that have struggled with learning approaches. His contributions have helped shape the effectiveness of teaching practices that are grounded behaviourist principles. Many British teachers also believe this, as they have realised that the behaviourist approach is quite simple, good teaching practice sympathised, and is clear to a coherent framework. Furthermore, it is simply defined as the behavioural science of teaching and its attempts to go beyond concept of teaching, as emphasising as well as consequences in teachers' maintaining of behaviour. It includes within a remit concerns with teachers, the curriculum materials, and the teachers that interact as setting values, aspects and physical geography of the classroom as relevant ecological variables. In short, it reflects accurately to the true nature of ABA rather than commonly accepted. Now that we've looked at Kevin Wendell, we're going to look at the earlier behaviourist history approaches.
The main historical behaviourist researcher is Ivan Pavlov. He is well known and remembered for his research into conditioning behaviour and reflexes in dogs. His work has been described as the foundation of the modern science of learning and is credited with influencing theories from other behaviourists including Watson and Skinner. Pavlov's findings ultimately formed the foundations of the associative learning theory that is still used today. Classical conditioning, which is also known as Pavlovian conditioning, has been defined by McSweeney and Murphy as changes in behaviour in response to external stimuli. As briefly mentioned before, Pavlov experimented on dogs to discover classical conditioning. The research process started with a dog being presented with food, which was known as the unconditioned stimulus. This caused the dog to salivate in an unconditioned response. The dog was then presented with a bell, which is a neutral stimulus, and that did not produce any response from the dog. The food and the bell were then presented together, which caused the dog to salivate. The dog now begins to associate the bell with the thought of the food. The dog is then presented with the bell again, which has become a conditioned stimulus, and the dog will now salivate, which is a conditioned response. This process became to be known as classical conditioning. Another important behaviourist researcher was Skinner. Blackman refers to operant conditioning as behaviour that is displayed in order to receive a positive response. Skinner's research used non-human animals, mostly rats and pigeons, in his experiments and researched operant conditioning. O'Donoghue and Ferguson stated that reinforcement causes an increase in positive behaviour, for example through rewards and praise, whereas punishment leads to a decrease in undesirable negative behaviour. We're now going to look into the positives and negatives of using the behaviourist approach in a classroom setting. As well as this, we're going to look at how the behaviourist approach has changed over time to be used in education.
Taking a look into the positives of behaviour approach, it can be suggested that the behaviour modification can be seen to ensure that students are conditioned towards being on task within the classroom, and this was stated by Congelosi in 2000. Another positive is that a major contribution to the behaviourist approach is the use of the drill and practice method. The central principle of this teaching method is that the teacher presents the stimulus to the students and they are expected to respond through constant practice. And this was stated by Driscoll 2000. Taking a closer look into the drill and practice teaching method, it is demonstrated that when a student is presented with such stimulus from the teacher in the classroom, the responses from the student can help strengthen positive association. An example of this is that the best way to improve reading is by encouraging students to read more in order to strengthen the link between the stimulus, for example, the material that they read. An example of this would be that the best way to improve reading is by encouraging students to read more in order to strengthen the link between the stimulus, for instance, the material to read, and the response that can help the capability of being able to read. Now taking a look into the negatives of the behavioural approach, it can be suggested that external rewards may create some unexpected problems within the classroom. For example, Edwards 2000 supports this by stating that external rewards may undermine intrinsic motivation and cause children to lose interest in learning without rewards being supplied. Another negative of the behaviourist approach is that some critics of behaviourism argue that it can be difficult for teachers to constantly give reinforcement to one particular student because there are too many other students within that classroom who need the teacher's reinforcement as well. And that was stated by Kasonde et al. 2013. A third negative states that behaviourism fails to capture the complexity and breadth of learning and does not acknowledge the creative, subjective and intuitive elements of learning that students have done in the past. That was stated by Bransford et al. 2000. And a fourth negative is that critics also argue that behaviour modification techniques only look into how the behaviour can be extinguished or changed instead of truly looking into what may have caused this behaviour to occur, and that was stated by Darby 2003.
To conclude our thoughts, let's recap what we found out about the behaviourist approach today. So we discussed what the behavioural approach is, and we discovered that the behaviourist approach is an attempt to go beyond the concept of teachers as dispensers of intelligent pupils by emphasising precursors and consequences in teaching, acquisition and maintenance of behaviour within the classroom. The research of Wadall K. 2012. We also learnt about the history of behaviourist approach with Holly. We learnt about Skinner and Pavlov's work for the behaviourist approach, using animal test subjects to better understand human behaviours, with Pavlov using dogs to carry out experimental studies on how rewards can be used to teach behaviours, found in the research of McSweeney and Murphy, 2014. Whereas Skinner, using test subjects like rats and pigeons, was discovered when reading the research of O'Donoghue and Ferguson. I also found that some other practitioners did research through animals. A study that built on the work of Skinner was learning in terms of trial and error. Wolfgang Collier challenged apes with obstacles involving out-of-reach food. They appeared to solve the problem through a process of sudden cognitive insight, rather than by simple trial and error. Davey, 2004. We discover that an approach is not always positively received, and there are some cons when it comes to a behaviourist approach. As Katy said, some critics argue that behaviour modification techniques only look into how the behaviour can be extinguished or changed, instead of truly looking into what may have caused this behaviour to occur in the first place. Although this is true, Gagné, 1963, moved the emphasis from reinforcement to the character of the behaviour themselves, shifting the focus on the how to the what of behaviour change. Second, he identified some other forms of learning, including the acquisition of ideas, norms, principles, cognitive techniques, and intellectual abilities, in addition to the acquisition of basic stimulus response, relationships, and physical behaviours.
Now we're going to discuss our school curriculum. Our three values are equality, inclusion, and diversity. We chose these because we believe that every student deserves equal opportunities to education. All of our resources used will be funded by school fundraisers, for example, bake sales, sporting events, and more. The curriculum will be interchangeable and free of choice to ensure that all students have a curriculum that fits the learning style they enjoy best. The first topic we chose for our curriculum is English. Our resources will include up-to-date reading lists, including The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, and The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. We will also have workbooks for spelling, handwriting, punctuation, and reading to help students develop their skills further. Workbooks will be checked weekly by teachers for progress checking and making sure students understand the topics. We will also use story sacks to help with engagement, inclusion, and understanding of the different stories we read. For lesson layout and assessment, there will be small group work within lessons based on ability to allow students to refine their skills in a group that fits them. Opinion-based tasks on books that have been read in class will encourage creativity and confidence based on the students' own views and opinions. It's been said by DeFazio et al. 2010 that writing and literacy skills are vital in increasing creativity, problem solving, analysis, and reflection. The second topic we choose for our curriculum is mathematics. Resources include online help with major topics including multiplication, fractions, decimals, and percentages, and also addition and subtraction. Mr. Barton's Maths website is a resource that can be used to help children with these online maths tasks. For lesson layout and assessment, small group work will be used again based on ability to help students refine their skills. Additionally, weekly quizzes and tests will be used to recap and consolidate previously taught topics. For science, we will use field trips to the best of our ability to allow students to experience science used in the real world. Additionally, the use of forest school area in our school will be useful to help students learn about different things in biology, for example. For lesson layout and assessment, they are going to be assessed based on practical skills and experiments carried out in the lessons, which uses more interactive approach and less theory. Practicals are done individually and in groups to show the students' individual progress and also their ability to work in groups.
Our fourth subject will be creative expressions, and within creative expressions, subjects will be art, drama, music, dance, and singing, and children will be able to choose which one of these subjects they would like to choose from. Resources will include musical instruments, which they will be able to create songs with, or whichever they would want to, and they will have a performance space, for example, a school hall or a drama room. The lesson layout will include no assessments, as art is an expressive subject. There will also be indoor and outdoor spaces for pupils to decide where they want to be. Another subject of ours will be life skills, as we believe life skills are extremely important for children to learn as they are in primary school. Subjects in life skills that will include cooking, cleaning, hygiene, washing and folding clothes, and making a bed. Our resources will include 2 classrooms, one will be a food tech room and one will be a laundry room. We will also need equipment such as an ironing board, an iron, a washing machine and bedding. We will also need to ensure that we have lockable cabinets for allergies and children's safety. We will also need accessible counters for disabilities and ALN children. Again, for lesson layout, there will be no assessments, and for different lessons, they will be accompanied for different life skills. For our 6th subject, we have physical education. We chose this because we believe that every child needs to stay active. We will have indoor and outdoor spaces and equipment for all sports. Our lesson layout will be interactive tasks and engaging for students. We will also have opportunities, both individual and group tasks. We will also have 2 to 3 different activity options in each lesson and different options for different abilities.
Our 7th subject that will be included in our curriculum is PSHE. Topics that will be involved are friendships and relationships, religion and different cultures, emotional well-being such as mental health, sexual education that will only be included in Key Stage 2 curriculum only, online safety and addressing pornography that will also be Key Stage 2 only. The resources that will be needed for this subject will be external visitors to come and talk about key life scenarios, for example, the NHS to talk about mental health, police to talk about bullying and online safety. Additionally, equipment for specific subjects such as contraceptives for sexual education and different examples. The lesson layout and assessment will be group discussions to talk about subjects that are involved a lot throughout school life. They'll be also provided with worksheets such as family trees to identify importance of different individuals within their life. For example, the police and NHS and also their parents as their key contact for dangerous scenarios. Personal profiles, pupils can express their personal identity, for example, what's important to them and what they don't like, such as different foods or maybe different things that happen in life that they find scary or dangerous to themselves. Our 8th subject will be forest school. The learning skills that will be included through risky play, which will be fire building and fire play and also climbing trees. It teaches awareness and respect, such as environmental safety, looking after our environment, physical and emotional health, advantages of outdoor play, and learning about wildlife. There will also be other outdoor activities included in forest school, such as gardening, which teaches these students the importance of growing their own foods and also how foods are made.
Our 9th subject that we would like to focus on during our curriculum is digital competence. The skills fostered during this lesson will be, it can be cross-curricular, so allowing children to learn throughout school through digital skills, allows children to prepare for our digital-focused future, will explore the use of AI in classrooms for creative subjects, and gamification for keeping children's interests in subjects is essential for our modern-day workspace. Digital competence is an imperative skill in today's society and allows for children to prepare for our tech-focused future and the jobs of tomorrow. The Welsh Government identifies digital competence as one of the 6 main areas of learning and experience, and I believe we should emulate this idea when we're creating our own curriculum. Within the Welsh Education Resource page, Hub, they are already using video games such as Minecraft to explore multiple subjects within the lesson plans, readily available to teachers through the Minecraft Education website. Age ratings and subject specifics are already in mind when creating these lessons. Minecraft is an exemplary way of using digital gamification within our education system. Gaultier and Schneider, 2013, claim that playing Minecraft encourages a great deal of critical thinking. The game environment is influenced by the choices made by players. Poor choices can lower the quality of life for their avatar, while making good choices can make the world more intricate and lovely and fostering creativity and forming a cosmos that is fashioned by the player. This also supports our behaviourist approach that we discussed earlier, as it rewards the player for each good choice that they make, further supporting the views of Skinner on rewards being a great way to encourage children. The development of AI in creative industries is growing rapidly. One of the most important philosophers in AI and creativity, Bowden, describes creativity as being valuable and original or surprising. Since creativity is linked to a variety of values, including aesthetic, social, scientific, and economic, it is comparatively liberated from the economic fixation of the rhetoric surrounding the creative industries. She appears to view creativity as both a process and an outcome, in contrast to the language of the creative industries, which views creativity as an input. This is also supported by Mazonin and Egonal, 2019. Therefore, a knowledge of AI and its uses is imperative for preparing for the future. When creating our curriculum, we decided to use the Welsh curriculum as a base layer to find some parts that we agreed with and some parts that we didn't. For example, in our literacy section, we used modern and engaging texts, opinion-based discussion to build confidence, and regular workbook checks, as well as storybook stacks to support engagement. The Welsh curriculum, in comparison, focuses on languages, literacy, and communication in their areas of learning and experience. There's an emphasis on developing oracy, reading, and writing. It encourages creativity and interpretation with learner-led text choices, and is assessed using formative methods, focusing on development, not rigid testing. Because of this, our literacy area is very aligned in promoting creativity, engagement with modern literature, and formative assessment methods. For mathematics, our curriculum focuses on online resources and group learning, weekly quizzes to reinforce knowledge. The Welsh curriculum, in comparison, is part of the mathematics and numeracy area of learning and experience, emphasis on real-world problem-solving and reasoning, and encourages adaptive methods. So we also have a strong alignment here, particularly in skills, focus, and use of digital resources. For science, we have hands-on practicals and outdoor learning, and forest school for biology topics. The Welsh curriculum, in comparison, is covered under the science and technology area of learning. It has high values on investigation, inquiry, and practical exploration, and embraces outdoor learning as its sustainability. This is a fully aligned ethos and in practice. Wales emphasises outdoor and practical science learning too. For creative expression, student choice is emphasised in our curriculum. There's no formal assessment as creativity is subjective and uses performance-based and instruments. In comparison, the Welsh curriculum is part of the expressive arts area of learning and curriculum. It encourages exploration through dance, drama, film, and music. Assessment is formative and learner-led, not standardised. So it is very well aligned, even though we have the different form of assessment, especially with optionality and emphasis on expression over evaluation. For life skills, in our curriculum, we focused on practical skills, cooking, hygiene, laundry, etc. Accessible and inclusive resource setup and no formal assessments. In the Welsh curriculum, this is integrated through the health and well-being area of learning and experience. Using life skills like nutrition, personal care, and independence are core components. Emphasis on developing resilience, self-care, and independence. It's closely aligned, with our curriculum, it is closely aligned, especially with holistic and inclusive life preparation. Physical education in our curriculum is varied activity options for each session, adaptable for all abilities and no grading focus. In the Welsh curriculum, this is also part of the health and wellbeing area of learning and experience, with a strong focus on inclusive participation and confidence building, which encourages learner choice and variety in physical activity. This matches the Welsh focus on enjoyment, choice, and holistic wellbeing. PSHE, our curriculum covers friendships, mental health, relationships, culture, online safety, group discussions, worksheets, and external speakers. The Welsh curriculum, in comparison, is a core part of health and wellbeing. It includes RSE, relationships and sexuality education, from early years, strong focus on identity rights and mental wellbeing. It's directly aligned, and in some areas, like early RSE, the Welsh curriculum even goes further. Forest school and outdoor learning, our curriculum includes risky play, tree climbing, and environmental awareness. The Welsh curriculum, outdoor learning, is embedded across all areas of learning, especially science and health. It is encouraged as a method for building resilience, problem solving, and well-being. It's an excellent match with our curriculum, as Forest School aligns well with the exponential aims of the Welsh approach. For digital competence, our curriculum focuses on AI, gamification, Minecraft education, and future-focused tech skills. It's cross-curricular integration and use for AI-created tasks. The Welsh curriculum, digital competence, is a mandatory cross-curricular skill, alongside literacy and numeracy. The Hub platform provides access to schools like Minecraft education, encourages critical and creative use of technology. It's very closely aligned and both emphasise future readiness and creativity within tech. To summarise, our areas align very closely with the Welsh curriculum, with literacy being creative, modern, informative, mathematics being practical and tech-supported, science being outdoor and practical, creative arts, expressive, not assessed, and life skills, practical, no grading, PE, varied, inclusive, and fun, PSHE, holistic with open discussions, Forest school, risk, nature, and self-learning, digital competence using AI and gamification. Overall, the curriculum is highly aligned with the curriculum for Wales, especially in child-centred, creative, inclusive, and future-focused approach. In fact, it mirrors many of the Welsh curriculum's core principles and structures, such as emphasis on skills over content, integration of cross-curricular themes, commitment to well-being, and learner voice, and no rigid assessment.